She was a CrossFit OG, always around the scene since the beginning. And now she's one of CrossFit's newest Redshirts. Kelly Clark is next.
This ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This for my city, yeah, this for my team. If you talking, it's hard to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better be right, champion. The game is in trouble. I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle. I got it for real. Still keep me going. I wake up and hustle. You won't see me buckle. I've been in the field. Man of the town. You been in your fields. I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty. Either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. I've been hot like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents. This mine. The moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to lunch or maybe dinner with the Clydesdale today. We have my friend Kelly Clark here, and I know this is a new format. This is only like the third or fourth person we've had on since we've switched this over, and these are not going to be traditional interviews. I've done so many of the traditional interviews. I just want to sit and chat with friends and have a good time. And if like news breaks, we'll talk about it. Like within the last hour, news broke. So we're going to start there. So I'm going to pull this up. It was announced on Dallin Pepper's website on Instagram and by the Barbell Spin that I'll try to blow this up. Sure, I will. Here it is. He says, I guess that bike in SoCal messed me up more than I thought. It's been a long few weeks and I'm heartbroken to not be heading to Scotland for Rogue. Saw signs of Rhabdo early on and thought I could clear things up and get back into training. Turns out I couldn't and continued to see major issues as weeks went on. After speaking with a doctor and getting lots of blood work done, I've been medically advised to take a few weeks off and make sure I'm coming back in 2026 the way I envision, which is to wreck shop. Bill and Katie, you guys put on the best show of the year. I'll be back. So, you've been around this sport forever, right? And I don't mean to say that in a way that says you're old, but you've been around since the beginning. Have you experienced Rhabdo before?
Maybe a minor case of Rhabdo once or twice, but nothing that's like sent me to a doctor or the hospital or anything like that.
You've been a coach as well. Have you seen any other athletes that
I have never seen any of my athletes get Rhabdo. I've heard of people getting Rhabdo, but no, you know where I hear about it most often these days is in our firefighters in the fire academies.
Wow.
And nobody that we work with, but regularly in the fire academies.
Well, that's a nice segue. I do want to come back to this a little bit. First, well, let's finish this off.
Off topic, but
did you see SoCal, the team where he went to the edge on that 3 workout thing?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah. So it was an air runner for well, I don't even remember the distance, and then 50 burpees.
Yep.
And over the bar, and then the Echo bike for 50 cals.
Yeah.
You're a competitor too. It's not every day you see someone go that far to the dark or whatever we want to call it, to push.
Yeah.
Do you think you could get to that level?
I think only someone like Dallin could give himself Rhabdo on a workout like that. I don't think I could get there on a workout like that. For me, especially, because I suck at the Echo bike. But yeah, I think that most people could not bring that level of intensity to do that kind of damage to themselves. on that workout. That's
you have to be fit, as fit as he is, and the amplification of how far he then has to push past to get rhabdo. Because I'm assuming when you see it in firefighters, it's because they're not fit enough when they try to do the big task at the academy.
yeah. Well, yeah, either not fit enough or not hydrated. You know, they spent the weekend drinking and then came back to the academy on Monday, body weight Murph, you know, like that kind of stuff. But like, but yeah, in general, it's either, you know, hydration plus intensity or, you know, um, improper scaling is a thing that I've heard of, that kind of stuff. But I think it's really rare that you see someone that fit just do that much damage.
The only time we really probably get to see it is at the games. You know,
Yeah.
there's the most famous cases of the Murph in Carson, where Annie kind of starts wobbling. Cara doesn't even know where she's at in that last little sprint to the finish line. And I don't know if they went as far as Dallin did. Like,
No, and that's for more heat injury issues, right? Like that's not we're not talking about Rhabdo there.
yeah,
I mean, I guess they could go hand in hand potentially, but yeah, that's
yeah,
an insane thing.
it is. It's not something you see every day. And the fact that he is willing to go to that, do you think that it affects him going forward in pushing that hard again?
That's an interesting. The only probably depends on how much damage he did and how bad it is, and how well he heals up, and takes care of himself. I know who else? Shelby Neal recently
Yeah.
got rhabdo. Um, more of it. I think she was taking some time off and then came straight back into Murph and didn't hydrate appropriately afterwards, I think is the story that she told. But I think it's been kind of a longer duration issue for her. She's had a hard time coming back from it than she expected. So I think if you do enough damage, it can affect your ability to bring that level of intensity in the future. But yeah, that's maybe out of my scope of practice.
Yeah. You just worry because Dallin and Shelby both are young athletes who
Yeah.
have a long career ahead of them. And you hope that this doesn't affect anything moving forward.
Yeah, I would really hope. But I think that I'm a big believer in, you know, I like work at PT clinic. So I'm a big believer that if you really commit to doing the rehab and recovering properly, I think in those cases, I think probably the biggest danger is that he tries to come back too fast, do too much too early, and then never fully recovers or doesn't fully heal or sets himself back. But he's got good resources around him, and I'm sure he's got a good team that's giving him some good advice. So hopefully he'll, you know, take the right steps. And
Yeah, I think my biggest worry isn't physically. I think he'll be, you know, if you look at the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, right? He's clear over on the one side of the pendulum. So his recovery will be fine. I think it's the mental piece that I would worry about the most.
Interesting. Yeah. You think he could be scared to go there again?
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Or maybe he only pushes to 8,000 RPMs instead of 9.
I mean, would it really matter? He's
Yeah.
still everybody else anyway.
True. But if you're trying to be a games champion, which is his goal, and he has made that abundantly clear, there are going to be times where in a competition you're going to have to push.
Go there.
And will he hit the pedal to the metal again?
I think he will. I have faith in him. I think he's tough. He'll get himself mentally rehabbed as well as physically.
Ernie Garza said instead of 110%, he's going to go 108.
Yeah.
Yeah. The men's field is just so stinking close these days. Like it's with, I mean, we said on this show, there were 10 guys that could have won the games this year.
Yeah.
Right. And so like when it's all that close and you're fighting for every point because you're all swapping places, like every little percent matters.
Yeah. That men's field is a really tough fight.
I mean, and that is something you are familiar with. If people don't remember, you missed out on the games twice by like a gnat's eyelash.
Yep.
That like 1% could have made a difference. Right. But you know, you're living your best life now.
I am. Old news.
Yeah. So I do want to get into the firefighting thing, but I saw your sweatshirt and it's so funny. Yesterday Sunday night, we were looking up the trademarks that CrossFit has.
Yeah.
And you know that they've let that trademark expire?
Oh, I did.
That logo?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah, it says like dead or abandoned on the trademark site.
Dang. Okay.
Because the new podcast, The Sport of Fitness, someone told me that they trademarked the Sport of Fitness. So they own that. And I was just going out to see like what else have they trademarked? Because like someone like the WFP can't even use that now. They can't use CrossFit. They can't use Sport of Fitness.
Yep.
Like they are really limited in what they can do because of the trademarks. And so I was out just meandering about like what all have they trademarked. They have 3, 2, 1, go. They have Murph. They have so many.
Yeah.
Pukey, Forging Elite Fitness. Speaking of breaking news, Forging Elite Fitness, big marketing campaign yesterday.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's super cool. I love what's coming out of the training and the education department right now. I think that it's a good, I don't know. It's just nice to see them. I guess to use their words, you know, like put the stake in the ground and hold it there, you know, like plant the flag and remind everybody who we are and why we're here and what this is all about. You know, I think it's always easy to get lost in the noise or go off into the weeds and, you know, and having CrossFit to really take on the task of making sure that they like are holding the flag and that's you know they're anchoring us to our mission and our purpose and I think that's what they should be doing, you know.
I love Forging Elite Fitness. I've said it forever. I started CrossFit over 500 pounds. I wasn't looking for Temu fitness. I wanted elite fitness, right? If I'm going to put in the work, I want it to be the best. And so I love that. And because I think people say that only reaches the tip of the spear. That's not true. I think everybody who's looking to get fit wants the best they can get.
Yeah. They want the best for them.
Right. And it just has to be explained to them that that's what CrossFit can be. It can be whatever you need it to be in that moment. So I've heard a criticism. I want to hear your feedback on it.
Okay. Sorry, Harley wants.
How is Harley?
Harley's doing great. She's not appreciating the cold weather right now. She's got her hoodie on, but she's doing great.
So the one criticism I have heard a little bit is I love the video. I love the narration. I love the people in it, but there's no action item at the end.
Yeah.
So like, how do I get to an affiliate? How do I get this elite fitness you're talking about? Where do I go?
Interesting. Yeah.
And it was brought to my attention. I did not think of this on my own. Just
Okay.
you know, like I was like all gung ho when I first saw it, all pumped up, ready to go. But then someone said, "What next?"
Yeah. You know, oh, is there an echo? That's me.
I think it's on your end. Hopefully, just your end.
Hopefully. You know, I feel like I don't know. I'm not a media person, so maybe someone would argue with me about this. but I do think that there's I don't know. I don't feel that there needs to be an action item. I think that I mean, because how would they do that? They you know, how would they send you to a specific affiliate? They maybe could link you to the affiliate map, and you could find an affiliate near you. Maybe that would be cool. But I think that CrossFit's job is to just keep sending the message and I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
let me counter your argument.
Hmm?
Let me counter your argument.
Sure.
Isn't their job also to support the affiliates?
100%.
So at the end of that, if the narrator says, if you want this,
Mhm.
go to the link in our bio and check out the closest location for you.
Yeah.
Well, as simple as that.
Sure.
And then it's a link to the affiliate map.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. I don't think I have a strong opinion on that because maybe I don't understand media as much, but I could see how from like a media marketing perspective, if you want to have kind of a call to action with everything.
Well, I think the message is awesome.
Yeah.
And if you're selling something, where do I buy it?
Hmm?
Right. And I think that's the piece that's missing.
Yeah.
If you show me a cool toy and I'm like, man, I want that toy, and then you don't tell me where I can buy it, the message is wasted on me.
Mm.
Just thoughts.
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
being uber critical. I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that.
Ken Walter says dogs are the best.
Dogs are the best.
My dog and I have been having a little. We need some relationship advice, maybe some counseling. He thinks he owns my house.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell him he does not. But we'll work through it. We'll work through it. I'm sure.
Good luck with that. Yeah. I think I let my dog win that one a while ago.
Yeah. That's my wife is allowing him to own the house. And so then when I say, no, you don't, he's like, I'll just wait till mom gets home.
Right. He knows how to play you.
Yeah. 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 Well, cool. So you've been very busy in your, it's weird because I talked to you at one point and you're like, yeah, I'm retiring. I'm taking a step back.
Yeah.
And then I see you just as much.
I know.
So in addition to continuing to compete at the age group level, and let me ask you about that. What is that? How is that different for you than the elite division?
I think when in the elite division, it was more of like a career, that was like the thing I was doing with my life to some extent. I was coaching as well, but I limited the number of hours that I was coaching so that I could maximize my performance in the gym. And it's not just the training hours that you're putting in, it's the recovery time and the sleep that you need, and the meal prepping and this managing your stress levels. You can't burn the candle at both ends. And so you're eating, sleeping, breathing, competition and performance. And I think now in the masters division, this is the thing that I do for fun. This is the thing that I do as like a stress relief. This is the thing, I have a full career. I have, a social life, and I am investing more into my career and my relationships. And CrossFit is the thing to celebrate, the thing that I do to celebrate what my body can do, to I still have the fitness. It's still in me to compete. I still have that mindset of like, if I'm going to do it, then I want to do it well, with the bandwidth that I have. And I still have that drive. I still have that competitive edge to me. So in competition, I'm there to compete, but it's the thing that I do for fun with my time. It's just a little bit less pressure, less stressful. And I find that a lot of the other masters athletes are similar. The conversations in the warm-up area are different. When you're in the open division, people are there to do the thing, and they're zoned in and they're focused, and they've spent the whole year training for this thing. And in the masters divisions, it's like, how are your kids? How's the family? How's the job? How's the, and people are kind of chit-chatting, and don't get me wrong, we're competitive. Everybody wants to win. But like, we're focused when it's time to be focused, but it's just a little bit more relaxed, and everybody has lived a little bit more life, if that makes sense.
It does. And when I'm at the mat, I say this all the time. I get more enjoyment at the age group games than I do at the elite games.
Yeah.
Because I can sit down on a bench and have a conversation with you, and you're not all stressed out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're there to have a good time, and not that you don't want to win. Like,
right.
Everybody wants to win. It's just, there's so many priorities in life now that isn't the main one anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a really cool thing to like just be walking around the convention center and like sit down and chat with you. And that was actually something that I talked to my team ahead of time about. We were talking about, do we get an Airbnb? Do we get a hotel attached to the, that kind of thing. And I specifically said, I want to hang out in the athlete area. Like, I normally, what I would do is I would go, like, I would set up my own camp, or I would get the hotel attached to it. And as soon as an event was done, I would be back in my hotel room doing recovery things, doing eating, being in my own headspace, getting ready for the next thing, or just de-stressing with my crew, and I would be more isolated because I was just keeping myself focused and not, letting energy bleed out anywhere else. And I specifically talked to my team ahead of time and said, I want to make friends. I want to have fun. I want to talk to people. I want to see everybody. I want to enjoy the whole full experience, not just to be there to perform.
And that was cool to see, because like, I saw you joking around with competitors or people in other age groups, like just laughing and having a good time. And it was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So conversely, you said like when you were competing elite, you shrunk back your coaching hours to make sure that you had time to perform and all that kind of stuff. Now that you're not in the elite division anymore, is coaching like your primary job, and have you upped those hours again? And what kind of fulfillment does that give you?
Yeah, I coach a lot of hours now. And that's the thing that I'm doing with my life now. This is the thing that I'm putting 100% into now. And I am more fulfilled than I imagined. When I think a lot of athletes get scared when they pull back from competing, that they're, what am I going to do with my life? Where's my identity now? What's my purpose? And for me, coaching is just as fulfilling, if not more so, because it's not as selfish of a pursuit, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I competed for me, if I'm in all honesty, like, I competed because I loved it. And that was the big dream that I had. And my coaching, I'm passionate about it. I get a lot out of it. I learn a lot from my clients, but I am also giving so much, and it's so much of a selfless pursuit, and it gives back so much that I just think I find it so fulfilling and meaningful. Um, and I actually, I have a hard time not giving too much. I think trying to make sure that I'm also taking care of myself and have some semblance of balance in my life. I'm not great at balance, but
So it is that what made you a great athlete, and now it's making you a great coach,
totally.
but really hard to find balancing that out? Because my next question is, you've become a red shirt. You're now seminar staff with CrossFit. At what point did you say, man, that would be really cool and I need to go for that?
Oh, the red shirt, actually, I wanted to be on seminar staff ever since I got my level 2. Um, and
And when was that?
that was 2015, 16, maybe 2016. Yeah, something like that. Probably 2016.
So really early on in your, what we would know as your competitive career.
Yeah, that was about 6 years into CrossFit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I did my level 2, and I watched my coaches at the level 2 just mold people and work with people and dig deep into coaching, and I just was like, I want to do that. That looks like the greatest job. and, um and I loved my level 2. I also think that was my favorite certificate course that I did, was that, like, just digging deep into the skill of coaching. It was so much fun. It, yeah, and it was so unique to anything else. Like, you're not just learning material. You're not just taking in concepts and theories, and you're doing the thing, and you're learning how to be better at doing the thing.
So off of that, I have a bunch of questions.
Okay.
So you wanted to be a seminar staff member all the way back to 2015, 2016.
Mhm.
You live in Northern California
Yeah.
and you're close to the ranch, and you've been used to test workouts for Dave.
Yep.
So you have connections.
Uh-huh.
What the hell took so long?
Because I can only do one thing well at a time. I can't. I actually remember at the end of my level 2, I walked up to Pat Barber. He was one of my coaches, and I said, "What do I have to do to get on staff?" And he basically said, "You have to get your level 3 at the bare minimum, and after that you can apply, do your internship, etc." And I said, "Okay." So I kind of put myself on that path, but then my competitive career started taking off, and I just felt like what it took for me to compete at the level that I wanted to compete at, I didn't have it in me to also be, at that time, seminar staff was traveling all over the world every weekend. It was, and I just didn't think I could do both well. And I don't like, if I'm if I'm gonna do something, I want to be really good at
So,
it.
so in the early days of CrossFit,
Yeah.
Annie was red shirt,
Yeah.
Rich was red shirt, Kalipa was red shirt, Camille, all these big athletes were red shirts doing both at the same time.
I know.
What kind of respect do you have for them that they were able to pull that off?
Oh, huge. But I do. But I just taught a seminar with Katie Hogan.
I love Katie.
Last weekend. I love Katie too. Uh, she's the best. It was so fun. We had a great time together. I haven't seen her in a long time, and this was the first time we got to work together on staff. So it was awesome. But I just had this conversation with her where she was telling me about coaching a seminar literally the weekend before she competed at the games. And she was telling me that she flew it was like down in San Diego or something. And then she flew back home only to turn around the next day and fly back for the games. And she was just telling me how she was on the airplane crying because she was so tired and so scared about, going straight from a seminar to the games. Like it's a lot of energy to go through a seminar. You are on and you are, driving the energy all weekend long. And then to turn around and go compete at the games, I think it was a lot.
Well, and she probably was an affiliate owner at that time too, right?
Oh God, I don't know,
Because a lot of those people were.
yeah, some of them were.
Like, you add that into the mix, holy cow.
Right. I know. Also, I mean, I do think that, like, she was also telling me, she's like, yeah, I competed at the games and I didn't have a strict muscle up, So like there is a different level of athletic ability
Sure.
required now to compete at that level. Whereas, I like talked to Pat and a few of like the real OGs, and they were like, yeah, we just signed up and showed up at the ranch,
Yeah.
And so like there was a turning point. I feel like I was always just behind, every time I unlocked a new level of my fitness, they just kept raising the bar. So I was like just underneath that line.
Do you think that made you a better coach?
Oh yeah.
Because like, you now know that you knew what it meant to have the drive and the work to get that next thing.
Yeah.
And we all have that next thing, whether it be your first box jump, your first pull up, your first muscle up, whatever it is. Every athlete that walks into that gym has something they're striving for.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think being an athlete has absolutely made me a better coach. Because I've had to pick apart everything that I'm doing. I've done everything so systematically and so intentionally and deliberately that I've really put a lot of thought into every single thing that I do. And that helps me then break it down, communicate it, empathize with people that are trying to do their thing, trying to chase their goals.
So during the process of becoming a seminar staff member, what was the hardest part?
I think for me, the hardest part was figuring out what the fitting my coaching style into the format of the seminar. The early days, you're just so terrified to like mess something up. I don't think I've ever actually been so terrified. I'm used to being on a stadium floor with, thousands of people and noise and lights and announcers. And I like the adrenaline rush. I work well under pressure. I consider myself someone who can perform under pressure. And I have never been so terrified as I was at my first seminar. And even like my first internship, if you ever talk to Pat Barber or Wes Pyatt, they'll tell you how terrible I was.
What is the evaluation process like after that first nervous internship?
Well, you go through like this internship process, and they're mostly trying to figure out, are you the right person? Do you have the right personality? Are you the right fit to do this kind of work? And they can teach you the skills of coaching and everything. They can teach you how to do the seminar, but you have to have the personality that fits. And so that's really what they're looking for. And they did make me feel better. They told me stories about their first seminar and how bad they sucked. And, like, don't worry, like we all sucked at the first time. But and it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing. I just froze. It just froze. I couldn't believe it. I walked up to him afterwards and I was like, I've been coaching for 15 years. How did this happen? God. I know how bad that sucked.
Your first seminar was an L1 or an L2?
An L1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they just give you like one piece of it and say, know this and come in? Or do they say you got to know it all and then you start?
I'm still honestly, like, I'm still drinking through a fire hose. I'm over a year in now on staff, and the it's a long, several years long process to the point where you can coach everything in the seminar. Like, it's a very long process, and they stair step you. But the first few times, it was more like they toss you into like the breakout sessions, like
Mhm.
coach the squats or the presses, like they give you a little breakout, and it's just coaching. I'm just teaching somebody how to squat or to deadlift. I do that every single day for the last 15 years.
Right.
But there is a format. There's kind of a formula that they use. The circle thing, the circle format was really foreign to me. I hadn't done that in, since my level 2, essentially. That's not the way I coach in my gym. And interacting with people, getting experience, like interacting with people that you've like just met and immediately like being on them, is a little bit of a different thing than the members that you see every day, that you connect with, that you learn their personalities and how they respond to feedback and the cues that they need and how far you can push them and everything. So it's a little bit different. Um, and that took me a minute to figure out, okay, I see what's happening. I see what we're doing here now. But I
Have you
don't.
come to the realization that the people there are probably just as nervous? Like when I did my first L1, so I've had my L1 for 10 years. So my first L1, Julie Fouché was the first breakout instructor. I was shaking in my shoes. I didn't want to be called out.
Yep.
And of course I did. I was one of the people called out. And then I'm like, so I'm as nervous as you would be presenting that.
Yep. Yeah. I've been told that. Katie and I, actually, she told me that this weekend. She's like, yeah, every time I think like I get nervous about giving a new lecture, I just remind myself they're more scared of me than I am of them. And I think that does help a little bit. But yeah, and I'm not as nervous anymore. I'm always nervous when I pick up a new lecture. They can kind of stair step you. They say like, all right, you're going to teach this lecture, and you get to prepare. You get ready for it, and then you give that lecture a number of times before they say, okay, you're ready for the next lecture. And so they give you like one little piece of the seminar at a time, and you get to like dial that in, and then they give you the next thing, which is actually really nice. That's been a really great way to progress through learning the material. But yeah, so I'm always nervous giving a new lecture. There's a lot of pressure that I put on myself to make sure that I do a good job, and make sure that I give people the experience that they came for, that I'm not just regurgitating information. um, but I've never been as nervous as I was that very first seminar.
So 5 a.m. squat club. Julie Fouché was my games athlete crush back in the day. Well,
I
this is what will be cool for you. When she was teaching my L1, she was in her walking boot from tearing her Achilles.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she was at the height of her popularity. And I think there was like 80 some people in her L1 that
Yeah.
day. Because it was at Rogue. Because I
Yeah.
live here in Columbus. So it's easy to go down to Rogue to get your L1.
Totally. Well, yeah, they used to have such huge seminars back in the day. There were, 50, 60, 80 person seminars. I'm kind of sad I missed those days where they'd have like 5 staff members on a seminar and just tons of people.
How many are on us? How typically now?
We have somewhere in like the 20s.
And what, like 3 staff members or?
Usually 2 until they get to the high 20s to 30, then we'll get a third.
Was CrossFit asks was I'm sorry, Rogue is still a cool place to go.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're doing this whole thing, and then in addition to that, you have a program called K2.
Yes.
And that is to make sure that our firefighters stay healthy and fit. So walk us through, because when I reached out to you to come on with me, you were actually away at a firehouse or an academy or something,
Yep.
doing something with them. So walk us through what you're doing there.
So we're working with the Pasadena Fire Academy. We work with Santa Cruz Fire as well. But when you were talking to me, we were down in Pasadena onboarding their new recruit class for their next fire academy. And our program essentially we have a few different pieces to it. So we go down there and we spend a couple of days down there talking to the recruits. We do a complete movement assessment, injury risk assessment. We put them through like an FMS screen and a Y balance test. And then we have our own little tests and things that we've built out over the years. I put them through, I do some coaching with like squats and hinges, push-ups, hanging, things like that. I look at their movement, make sure that they know how to do things properly, at least the basics. And then I sit down with them. I talk to them about stress, sleep, nutrition, hydration, all those kinds of things. Make sure they're, prepared for what not only the fire academy is going to demand, but for what the job is going to demand later. And so we really try and set them up with a good foundation. These are guys that are just getting into firefighting and they're just heading into academy. They're brand new. And so I kind of see it as our opportunity to get them while they're still developing habits and still figuring out the rhythm of things and try to set them up for success as much as possible. So we do all that stuff, and we put together from all of that assessment, they get a corrective exercise program from our physical therapist, for Ryan, who owns the physical therapy clinic. He gives them a corrective exercise program if we find any imbalances, mobility limitations, if there's some tweaky things or an old injury that acts up, things like that. We try and make sure that we're taking care of that stuff. And then they go through a 10-week pre-academy program, which is designed to make sure that they are fit enough to make it through the academy. So we have a fitness test that we put them through at the start of the program, and then we retest them at the end of the program. And it's kind of a broad test across multiple domains, but we make sure that we're trying to make them as well-rounded and prepared for what they will need to be successful in the academy as possible. There's a lot of injury prevention things sprinkled in there. There's a lot of corrective exercise stuff and a lot of recovery work. Part of our job is to make sure that they're not only really fit, but making sure they're not getting injured, making sure they know how to take care of injuries. If, things pop up, make sure they know how to recover appropriately from their training that they're doing. And then, that program is delivered remotely because they're kind of all over the place at that point. They're not in the academy yet. They can message us, they can send us videos, we send them feedback. We've got like a group chat with them, and we're all talking to each other. So it's really fun. They're in that now. They're about halfway through now. And then we'll go back down in late November before the academy starts. The academy starts in December 1st. And we'll work with their training cadre, the guys who are going to be running the academy. And we'll do a couple days down there with them, teaching them how to run our fitness program through the academy. So then we'll have our fitness program articulate with their fire academy. So they'll come in every day of the academy and they do their, physical fitness first thing in the morning, and then they go on with their fire evolutions and all their training for the day. And like I said, a lot of the problems that they're seeing is that either guys aren't fit enough to make it through, or they get hurt early on and they wash out because they can't complete it. We've heard of a lot of cases of rhabdo, or things like that. And so that's really what we're trying to mitigate, is make sure they're fit enough when they walk into the academy, make sure they don't get hurt in the academy, and they make it through to be a successful firefighter.
So this is really about pre-firefighting, not about those who make it through and keeping them fit while they're on the job. Is there a hope that translates forward?
Yeah, well, so we have an ongoing program that is usually we don't have it. We're not working with Pasadena yet with that one. Right now, they're focused on their academy. But with Santa Cruz Fire, we have an ongoing program that we run at the gym, and they have access at the firehouse. So they can either come in to our K2 classes at the gym, or they can access the program remotely and do it at the firehouse or at home or wherever they want. And that's just ongoing, trying to take care of their current firefighters.
I was excited to talk to you about this because I live in the state of Ohio. I work for the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
We had public safety on with us because on 9/11 they do a first responders climb.
Oh yeah.
Or they do a CrossFit workout. There are different options. But when I ask them, do you spend more money on gym equipment in the prisons or in the first responders' houses? The answer was the prisons. And when they tested, and this came right from the director of public safety, the fitness level of the prisoners was like 20 points higher than the fitness level of the police officers trying to chase them. So like where are our priorities?
Right.
So I was excited that you have a program and you're working with cities to at least get fitness into first responders' hands.
Yeah.
So how did it come to be? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? How did the relationship form?
Yeah, we actually, it came to be because Ryan and I kept having this recurring conversation. Ryan is the owner of the gym and the physical therapy clinic. And I'm doing my competitive athlete thing. I'm, performing at a high level. Ryan comes with me when I go to compete. He takes care of my recovery and preps me for events and things like that. And I put a lot of effort into my recovery. I put a lot of effort into not just my physical recovery, but managing my nervous system. Especially as I get older, I find that my nervous system gives out before my physical body does. My physical body will do anything I want it to, but my nervous system is much more sensitive, especially as I get older. And so I do a lot of things. I have a lot of tools in my toolkit, but I do one of those things is I called it a recovery flow, where I kind of just did this low intensity flush, and I did it like once a week, just to make sure that I was flushing stuff out, recovering ranges of motion, moving properly, activation. It was kind of my prehab, injury prevention stuff I'd sprinkle in there. And we kept having these conversations about all of the firefighters and police officers that he was seeing coming into the clinic. And they're all broken. They're all burnt out. They don't know how to manage the stress. They don't know how to train appropriately. If they get hurt on the job, they don't know how to rehab an injury and take care of themselves, but also, while trying to stay fit for the job. And we just kept getting like, why is this? This shouldn't be like this. They should have better resources. They should know, all of the things that I know as an athlete. Like, our firefighters are occupational athletes. They are we should be treating them like professional athletes. They should have the resources that professional athletes have. They should, they should be guided through these things. How come they don't have these resources? How come they don't know how to do this stuff? How come, like they shouldn't get to the point where they're broken before we see them? And it was just something that we kept circling back around to, that we were kind of just, this is sad. These are the people who give endlessly of themselves to take care of our communities, and it should not be this way. And we can fix and and so then we got to that point where we were like, wait a minute, we can fix this. We know how to do this, so why don't we do that? And so we created a program, and I wrote it up, and we beta tested it at our gym, at the CrossFit gym, and it ended up exploding. It's now, I think it's about 50% of our membership is part of our K2 program. And it started attracting this whole new clientele to our gym that we didn't realize it was going to be a great fit for. And that's kind of a different story. But it was so successful that then we started talking to our firefighters that were coming into the clinic, and we just started inviting them in. Come try it, see what you think. And we had a few firefighters that were real kind of ambassadors for us, that were like, oh, this is really great. This is what we need. We need to get all of our guys on this. And it took some time, but eventually they were really bought in, and they, one thing led to another. And the next thing we knew, we were working with Santa Cruz Fire. And then Pasadena happened because Chad Augustine, do you know who he is?
The name sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, he's a Masters Games athlete. He's
okay.
Pure Masters Games athlete, but he's I think he used to live in Santa Cruz. Ryan knew him, and we knew he was a firefighter, and we knew he was a CrossFitter. And so Ryan called him up and wanted to pick his brain. We were, okay, like, can we just talk to you about this new program that we have, that here's what we have in mind, but like, we wanted to talk to you. Tell us where your pain points are. Tell us what you guys need. Tell us if we're on the right track. And what went from like a kind of, we want to pick your brain call, turned into, oh, by the way, Chad's the chief of Pasadena Fire. And at the end of the call, he's like, great, when can you start? Wow. And, we basically looked at each other after that call and said, I guess we're building a program.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, and this is 2 years with Pasadena now, and 3 or 4 with Santa Cruz. And it's kind of just been slowly growing and iterating as we go.
Is it still a 2-person job or 2-person business, or if you had to bring other people in?
No, we have our other head coach, it does the programming and the communicating with the recruits with me. So it's essentially 3 of us now.
Okay. Do you see this being a valuable resource for even other occupations?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This has been, I mean, any shift worker, but any first responder, I think it's really valuable for any shift worker. Honestly, I mentioned that we beta tested it at the gym, and then it exploded. It's been really great for people who are graduating from physical therapy and not quite ready to jump into CrossFit classes. Maybe they're working around some significant limitations, or they're just really scared. Like after big injuries, people are really scared to move their bodies. They don't trust themselves yet. Or they've gotten really deconditioned. And so it's a good entry point for people. And it's been great for our older athletes. We've kind of found that it really fits anyone that's just really trying to focus on their foundations, really be injury prevention focused, have the option to recover when they need it, rather than, putting themselves through intensity at the wrong time.
So here's my thought. I said I work for the state of Ohio. I work in reemployment. So when people lose their jobs, trying to help them find something new, the opioid crisis in Ohio is an epidemic. And
Yeah.
it started in the construction industry for the most part. Guys would get hurt on the job. They don't get paid if they don't show up. So
Yep.
they take the opioid to get them back to work. It becomes an addiction, and then you're on the downward spiral.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, all these construction workers that are lifting odd objects all the time,
Yep.
doing the like sprint grunt work all day long. Like, it just seems like that would be a good thing for them to kind of have those kind of flow state workouts to flush things out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that's a really valuable thing. And I don't think it takes any kind of, honestly, I don't think it takes any kind of special program. It's great. I think I've read a great program, but the recovery flow honestly came because it's not like the concept of recovery, a low intensity flush is anything new, but we were realizing that people come to a gym, they come to classes because they want to be coached. They don't want to think about what they're supposed to do, how to do it. You know, when you say like take your recovery days, you know, and make sure that you do some recovery every now and then. Maybe you just go flush on a rower. They're not going to do that. You have to like give them the step by step. You have to give them the coached experience still.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think that was kind of what clicked. That was what clicked for us was you can tell people to recover, to take days off, to do something low intensity till you're blue in the face. But there's going to be a very small percentage of people that actually take the initiative to do that. And I think that one of the really big things we found for people is the gym is their community. That's their social life. That's where they connect. And that's such an important part of the CrossFit experience. It's not just the workouts and what it's doing for your body. It's coming to see your friends and connect and get a break from work or family or whatever it is. And so being able to come to the gym and still hang out with your friends in the same class, in the same space, at the same time that you always come, and just choose a more appropriate option for yourself when you need it, I think made that so much more accessible to people.
That's really cool.
Because that's what you see, right? You see the like, I've heard of that. I've heard that story a number of times in the construction world that, you get on painkillers and then the next thing you know, but you hear that story a lot with people, anyone that works a high stress job, whether that's physical stress or even, in Silicon Valley, we're in the tech bubble. So it's,
Right.
the tech companies own you. They drive you hard. And there's the people here, they're high performers, not necessarily athletically, but at the thing that they do, they're very driven and they'll burn themselves up. And I think that, I don't know, just, you hear that story a lot. They get themselves in a hole. They get burnt out. Work is stressful. Family stressful. You get some little tweaky thing that happens, a little minor injury, and they go, I can't come to the gym. I can't go to the gym today. And then it's been 3 days and I still can't go to it's still not better. I'm not fully recovered. And then it's been a week and then it gets harder to come back to the gym because you kind of just got in that rhythm. And then it's been 2 weeks and then it's been a month and then it's been 6 months.
I know that life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had 12 back procedures and I went from like being there and twice a day, 7 days a week to like, I couldn't even face not being able to be myself.
Yeah.
And so mentally it was really hard to like step my feet back into the gym at that point. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And as much as like they want it for you, if you don't understand that you don't have to be who you were, you just have to be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
We talked about it today on my lunch show, and it's something I struggle with every single day.
Right. Yeah. And that's so hard. And so for us, it's about catching people before they get there. It's about making sure that people know, like, if work is stressful, life is stressful, you have a little tweaky thing going on, the answer is not don't come. The answer is come, show up, do the like show up for yourself, commit to your movement practice, and we will make sure that we give you something that you can do that's appropriate for you. We know that we guide you through it. We'll make sure that there are still so many things that you can do, and I always just want people to know that if you show up, I will show up for you. I will be here. We will give you something that's appropriate for you. We're not going to just smash you when you're, if you're hurt or you're stressed and that's not the right thing for you. Um, and I think that like for us, it's just about catching people before they go down that road.
Yeah, it's really important because once even you're 2 steps down the road, it's really hard to turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm honest to God, I've lived it. And I struggle to this day.
Yeah.
To this day with it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get all emotional, but because I'm starting to.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing. And I'm glad you hung out with me tonight. It's good seeing you as always. I always like hanging out with you at events, and it was really cool seeing you laugh and smile and joke around with all of your competitors at the age group games this year.
Thanks so much. It's really great to talk to you. Always good to see you. I love your jersey behind you, by the way.
You like that?
I saw that. Yeah.
Well, it's not in a frame yet because I'm waiting for it to be signed.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So once it's signed, it'll go into a frame and hang on the wall. But I love it. And everybody's commented, is that a Will Clark jersey?
Yeah.
Some people have asked if it's a Caitlin Clark jersey.
No,
That's not even the right number.
Way cooler.
Way cooler. Way cooler. Well, thank you, Kelly. And thank you to everybody in the chat for being here. We appreciate you so much. If you want to check out more of what Kelly's doing, go check her out on Instagram. It's I am Kelly Clark.
I am .kelly.clark.
Yeah, check it out. She has some stuff pinned up at the top with all the programs she's doing. And maybe you'll see her out there at a seminar sometime.
I hope so.
With that, guys, we'll catch you next time on Lunch with Friends or Dinner with Friends. Bye, guys.